AITA for telling my GF not to be rude to Starbucks employees. The Starbucks in my town has recently reopened for takeout business only. These people have been put of a job for about a month now, so I don't exactly expect them to be stellar at their jobs at the moment. My GF and I had to get her car from the shop, so we decided to get Starbucks for ourselves and the family. While we were out, she placed the order online and I went to pick it up. When I get to the SB, I noticed that 2 of our drinks were made cold instead of hot. These were my GF's and mine drinks. No big deal. I know that mistakes happen, and I don't want to add to their workload by having them remake the drinks. My GF and I tend to call each other on long car rides, so on the way home I give her a call and mention that 2 of the drinks were cold instead of hot. She gets mad and says, "Wow, what a bunch of assholes." To which I responded, pointedly, with "They are not assholes. They made a mistake." This caused a whole argument where she told me that she can't express herself because I react badly to it. I told her that I'm not going to let her degrade service workers who are doing their best during a pandemic. Her response to this was I didn't say it to their face. After a lot of arguing, I ended up calling her an entitled white person who has to always get their way. I know that's not a nice thing to say, but at that point I was so frustrated that someone would pop off about an honest mistake. They're risking COVID-19 just so we can get our coffee. I don't care if they mess up the drinks a tiny bit. She's furious with me for calling her out on the things she said in private, and I'm furious with her for talking badly about people who are doing their best. So Reddit, AITA, TLDR, I got mad when my girlfriend called Starbucks employees assholes for getting our order wrong. So I called her an entitled white person who has to always get their way. Update. A lot of people have been asking why I didn't just get the drinks fixed rather than addressing each one individually. I'll answer it here. GF and I have been together for almost a year, and part of our morning routine for most of that year has been getting Starbucks together. In that time a lot of mistakes have been made. It happens. Whether it was my drink or hers, neither of us have ever taken a drink back to fix it. We genuinely don't care that much about hot vs iced, refresher vs lemonade, etc. One time they put peppermint in her coffee instead of my hot chocolate. We laughed it off and went home all smiles. This episode is out of character for her, and that's the main reason why it bothers me so much. Also, when I asked her this time if she wanted me to take it back, she said no. It's not that I was too afraid to, or that I thought they would say no. I know the manager and most of the employees pretty well, so I know that they would have happily redone the drinks. GF and I have a history of not caring about little mess ups, so I didn't want to make them busier than they already were by having them remake 20 drinks. Nah, I think you were probably just raised differently and both have different life experiences. She may not genuinely believe those people were assholes. She was just expressing her anger privately. If she were screaming at the employees, that'd be a different story. But I don't think it makes you an asshole for expressing your opinion either. I think you both could just work on expressing yourselves in a way that doesn't attack the other. NTA, because that behavior will never change if she doesn't get called out on it, and you were defending people that couldn't defend themselves and did not deserve to be talked about like that. There's a difference between "oh that sucks" and "what assholes," blaming the people or blaming the situation. She's definitely the asshole and being exactly what you called her. AITA, your title is a lie. She was never rude to an employee. She was just expressing frustration and probably wanted to say you're an asshole for not getting the mistake fixed. Also, you noticed the drinks were wrong, so why not correct them? The employees will not mind as mistakes happen. Esh, your girlfriend for calling them assholes just because they made a mistake, and you for taking it too far and calling her entitled. She probably knew what she was saying is wrong and was just venting her frustration, so she would never say it to their faces. Instead of patronizing her, next time just tell her that hearing her say that makes you feel bad too, and ask her to direct her frustration elsewhere, like the situation in general. AITA for telling my best friend I love him on his wedding night. Last December, my 28F best friend, 32 meters, married his girlfriend, 30F, of 2 years. They had a beautiful white tie garden wedding at a nice estate. I've known my best friend since childhood. We used to spend every second together. We went to the same elementary and high school and only lived a few doors down from each other. We kept talking when he went to university, but stopped talking for about 4 years when I went, and made different friends. But eventually we both found jobs in our hometown and reconnected. I've always thought my best friend was attractive, but I never made a move because I'm a more traditional person and he never asked. We both went to prom with different people, dated different people in college, etc. We never kissed or had any other physicality. So fast forward to his wedding night, the whole thing felt wrong to me. I ended up liking his now wife, but during the period in which they were dating and engaged I still hung out with my best friend all the time. We'd go stargazing, hiking, etc. but there was never any romantic subtext to it. On the night of the wedding, I asked one of my other friends what I should do, and she recommended that I tell him my feelings before the wedding. She said I would regret it forever if I didn't. I realized this was true. I didn't get a chance to talk to him before the ceremony, but afterwards I managed to pull him aside and tell him that I've loved him forever. He started to cry and told me to leave. I've only spoken to him once since last December when he texted me to make sure I was fine considering the current plague. AITA, if I am, please help me resolve this. I really miss my best friend. Edit, my fault. We didn't go to milliseconds at the same time. He was a senior in high school when I was a freshman. NTA for telling him how you feel, but AITA for the poor timing. Why would you wait until the night of his wedding? That's going to be branded into his memory of his wedding night forever. Now I'm a huge believer in going for something you really want, but you waited too long on this one. AITA life isn't a rom-com. Did you think he would ditch the new wife and ride off into the sunset with you? What was the end game here? All you did was ruin a friendship and taint his wedding day. How utterly selfish and immature. AITA. There is absolutely no conceivable scenario where telling someone you love them on their wedding night isn't an utterly selfish, disruptive act. His wedding was supposed to be about starting a new life with his new spouse, and I doubt he'll ever be able to think of it without remembering you blowing up a 15-year friendship to tell him something way too late that neither of you could act on, for reasons that even theoretically only benefited you. And come to mention that, now you just get to regret telling him, rather than regretting not telling him. AITA. If you don't, you'll regret it forever. Are you kidding? You just made his wedding day about you and your feelings. You either should have told him long before the wedding, or you should have kept your mouth shut. Now he'll always remember that on his wedding day, and it's your fault. AITA for reminding my stepfather that he'll never have children. Me, 28 meters, and my wife, 31F, are expecting a baby and we're absolutely thrilled about it. Tonight we visited my brother, 20 meters, my mum, 55F, and her husband, 46 meters, who I'm not very fond of, and vice versa, since in my country you can go out and see relatives now. We had dinner, and after that we finally made the announcement. My mum cried of joy and my brother was super excited to become an uncle, but my stepfather was not very impressed. He said it was good news, but I'm too immature and not ready to become a father yet, that parenthood is not a game, and it takes responsibilities that I'm not ready to take. I'm a chill guy, but after what he said I became furious. It was supposed to be a joyful moment, but he ruined it. I felt very offended because he doesn't know me very much and he was in no position to judge me or declare what it takes to be a father because he is not one, even if he always wanted to be. And yes, I was so pissed that I reminded him that, and I also added that he is jealous because me and my wife are gonna have a baby on our own and he'll never have. My mum said that, even if her husband shouldn't have said what he said in that specific moment, I reacted too violently and I should apologize. My wife on the other hand, agrees with me and said that my reaction was justified. I don't know, maybe what I said was a bit too much, but I really lost it. Maybe it's because there was always been some tension between us, and that was the straw that broke the camel's back. NTA. I would say, if your stepfather wanted to seriously converse with you over the idea of you not being prepared to have a child, he should have done so in a more private, respectful manner. Calling you out in the moment to try and put you down shows a lack of maturity on his part. Now, could you have been less intense in your reaction? Sure, but the problem remains that he started an unnecessary criticism at a horrible time. It's about good on you. You need to stand up for your family, even when it makes you uncomfortable. It's not a free pass though, I really mean AITA, but sometimes this world needs assholes. Congratulations on the new addition. Thanks for watching. Drink lots of water and stay healthy.